right, today we're tackling one of the most critical, and let's be honest, one of the most paralyzing steps in starting a business, coming up with the perfect name. How do you go from just a blank page to a brand name that actually stands out and means something? Well, we're going to break it all down. Let's dive in.
So, think about it. You've got this incredible business idea, right? The vision is totally clear. You know exactly what you want to do, but then, boom, you hit this wall. This one thing that just stops all the momentum. What is it?
Yep, that's the one. Choosing the perfect name. It can honestly feel like this massive roadblock, the one thing that keeps you from making any real progress. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this big, scary guessing game. We're going to give you a step-by-step process to turn that wall into a bridge, getting you from just brainstorming to actually building your brand.
Okay, so before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to do it, I think it's super important to understand why a name matters so much. A great name, it's way more than just a label. It's a story, it's a vibe, it's a promise, all wrapped up in one or two words. Let's look at 5 founders who totally nailed this and built empires on the back of a great name. First up, Pot Gang. Now, these guys sell gardening kits for complete beginners. They could have gone with something super boring, like beginner garden supplies or whatever. So forgettable. But nope, they chose a much, much cooler path.
See, that word gang, it completely changes everything. It's not just a product anymore. It's an invitation to join a club. It just screams fun and community. You're not just buying a box of seeds. You're joining a fun, shared experience. That's what a single word can do.
Okay, now for a totally different vibe. This is a name that makes one heck of a bold promise. Death Wish Coffee. Their whole thing? They claim to be the world's strongest coffee. They don't just whisper it. They are literally shouting it from the rooftops with that name.
And what's so genius about this is that the name works like a filter. It pulls in exactly who they want, those thrill-seeking coffee lovers, and it pushes away everyone else. If you want a mild morning brew, you're not even going to click on their website. It's polarizing on purpose. That is how you build a loyal tribe.
All right, let's shift gears again and look at a name that's all about a mission. The outdoor gear brand Cotopaxi. It's named after a national park in Ecuador. Just hearing the name kind of transports you, doesn't it? It immediately makes you think of adventure, far-off places, and connecting with nature.
And that's the whole point. The name has this deeper meaning. It connects the product, the gear, to a much bigger story about sustainable practices and helping people. So when you buy their stuff, you feel like you're not just getting a cool backpack. You're buying into a mission. You're part of something bigger. So what happens when your business name is, well, just your name? That's the problem the company originally called Olin Rogers Supply ran into. It was fine at first, but it really limited how big they could grow. To expand their universe, they needed a new identity.
And they rebranded to Star Cadet. I mean, how cool is that? It's fun, it's futuristic, and most importantly, it's not tied to any one person. Suddenly, the brand can be about anything. It opens up a whole galaxy of possibilities. This is a perfect lesson in choosing a name that can grow with you.
Okay, for our last example, we've got a name that is completely soaked in history and local identity. Hayut Denim Co. is based in this small town in Wales that used to be a huge hub for making jeans, but then the big factory closed down, and it pretty much wrecked the town's economy.
So the name itself is part of this incredible comeback story. It's a promise of authentic quality tied to a real place with real history. When you buy their jeans, you're not just buying a piece of clothing. You feel like you're supporting a town's legacy, helping to bring it back. You just can't fake that kind of story.
Pretty cool, right? You can see how each of those names is doing some heavy lifting. It's telling a story, it's attracting a certain kind of person. So the big question is, how do you find your perfect name? How do you create something with that kind of power? Well, that's where our framework comes in.
All right, here's the game plan. We've got a 10-point framework for you. This is going to take you from that messy, chaotic brainstorming phase to a final strategic choice you can feel confident about. Seriously, think of this as your playbook for a future-proof brand name.
Okay, the first 3 steps are all about building your creative foundation. Before you even think about actual names, you gotta do this homework. Number 1, who exactly is your audience? Number 2, what's the vibe? Are you playful, professional, edgy? And number 3, what are those core keywords that really describe what you do? Get this stuff right, and everything else gets easier.
Next up, we have the practical checks. Look, you can have the cleverest name in the world, but if people can't say it, can't spell it, or can't remember it, it's basically useless. You're just creating headaches for your customers and for yourself. So, is it easy to pronounce? easy to spell, and does it actually stick in their brain? These are non-negotiables.
And finally, we get to the digital and legal reality checks. This is where you find out if your brilliant name can actually exist in the real world. Can you get the .com domain? Are the social media handles free? Is another company already using it? And, super important, does this name box you in or can it grow with your business? You got to tick all these boxes before you fall in love with the name.
So we've talked about what to do, but sometimes it's just as important to know what not to do. So let's quickly cover 3 super common mistakes that people make so you can avoid a painful and expensive rebrand down the road.
First, there's the too trendy trap. Picking a name that's cool right now but will sound totally dated in just a few years. Avoid it. Then there's the hard to spell headache. This is when you get so clever with the name that nobody can actually find you online. Clarity is always better than cleverness. And finally, the backed-in-a-corner box. Don't name your company Austin's Best Dog Walking if you might want to sell cat toys or expand to Dallas later on. Think bigger.
Okay, so you've been through the whole framework, you've avoided the common mistakes, and you've found it. The name. It feels right. So what now? Well, before you pop the champagne, there are a few crucial steps to make it official and lock it down.
First things first, you've got to register the name legally. Broadly speaking, you've got 2 main options here. You can file for a DBA, which stands for Doing Business As. This is pretty simple. It just links your business name to you personally. The other route is forming an LLC, or a limited liability company. This creates a whole separate legal entity for your business, which is huge, because it protects your personal assets if the business gets into trouble. Which one's right for you really depends on your situation.
So here's your final checklist to launch that name into the world. 1. Register the business name, whether it's a DBA or LLC. 2. Do a basic trademark search to make sure you're not stepping on anyone's toes. 3. And do this immediately. Go secure the social media handles on all the major platforms, even if you don't plan to use them right away. And 4. Set up a professional business email. It sounds small, but it makes you look legit right from day one.
And that's pretty much the whole playbook. Look, a great name isn't everything, but it is the title on the cover of your book. It's that first impression, and it sets the tone for the entire story you're about to tell. So, the name is chosen. The real question is, what story are you going to build with it?